and dimes in my pocket, somewhere three stripes. This game ain't social media, where you're looking for likes. Deals to be made, I'm a mover and a shaker, to the occasion I rise. Like yeast for a baker, climbing the ladder with swiftness and ease, spreading through the community just like a damn disease. What I do in office, minimal messages sent to you, subliminal, taking what's not mine, the criminal, the game I play, political. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another live episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. I am your host, as always, Sabir Aleem. Not on the same level. I'm a real gangster, running with the devil. Only see me in person when it's time for the race. I know none of your needs, a damn disgrace. An elected official. This is the theme song for the 2024 presidential election. Make sure you attach it to all your postings. I don't care if you're voting for Harris, if you're voting for Trump. I don't give a damn who you're voting for. This is the theme song. This should be the year that we change how we go about putting people in the office. What I do in office, minimal messages sent to you, subliminal, taking what's not mine, criminal. Promises broken, misled you with confidence, made you a token. Many are just flakes, where no booty shakes. From the hall to the house, when it's time to speak up for you, quiet as a mouse. I have my own agenda, little do you know. Once getting on office, I just go with the flow. What I do in office, minimal messages sent to you, subliminal. Yeah, Uncle Sam wants you. They need our vote. They need our vote. They need the vote of the black and the brown people. Why do you think they fight so hard to keep us out of the polling places? Why? Why? Look at how important that is to every election. Look at it. My allegiance is to the party, so to you I lie. I understand the system. I know you don't. Is it time for black folks to leave the Democratic Party the hell alone? Do you want to be safe as an American walking the streets and don't have to look over your head for bombs flying in? Do you want to be safe from people just coming in and wreaking havoc in America? Do you want to keep getting all these other so-called generous donations, these crumbs that they keep throwing to us and telling us, as usual, it's raining when they pissing on us? What do you want? Hard choice to make, but the choice has to be made. The choice has to be made. We want the President of the United States of America. We don't want the President of the Confederate States. We don't want the President of the Union. It's time to rock and roll. It's time to rock and roll. We ain't playing no games. It's time for us to take our country back. Right? We're the ones, the citizens. It's our country. Setting the bait. Media propaganda blitz that just spreading the hate to the crowd, doing empty promises. The applause is loud. Damn, you still fall for this. It's a dog and pony show, threatening the woke. Donkeys and elephants, a three-ring circus, rope-a-dope, the clowns. Hook, line, and sinker. They only want
Followers, not independent thinkers.
political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are
Two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Up and away. Superheroes to many. Saviors for some, a taker from any. They appear distinguished, the 1%ers toys. Their souls extinguished, their minds destroyed. For you against you, all in the same breath. With us against us, it's a loyalty litmus test.
patriotism, dictator, diffusion.
Schizoid prism, it's a democracy illusion.
Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone.
Their faces are two-tone. Here we go. We got a great show today. Following up, accountability. Yeah, what's that?
They call it a chamber, believers of the manger. In
God they trust not, fallen angel, no stranger.
and until they die,
From their seats they will cry,
to our faces,
telling lies, they're complicit, no surprise.
the ceiling is high.
They think the same of you and I. What they call woke is a politicized form of divide.
All lives,
No matter, just listen to the idle chatter. They're hiding in plain sight because they fear the smoke and splatter.
political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on
Their faces are two-tone.
their faces are two-tone.
I ain't never been the one to tell anybody who to vote for. You vote for who you want to vote for, right? It's personal. Ain't none of no damn body's business. Just look at the world today and ask yourself,
Growing from the propaganda that's sowing.
who
They're hiding the hand.
wants to keep you not knowing?
Peace seems to come through war.
For war doesn't bring peace.
Residual effects
Are an intermittent release.
They think you'll be called. Then they'll
Called one maturation miss. They turn the other cheek and receive the Judas kiss.
political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone.
Two-tone.
Their faces are two-tone.
Yeah.
Their faces are two-tone.
Better watch them. You think it's a red
Their
face?
faces are
It's a blue face too. New music.
In light on
New music.
identify dark moment. Our eloquent limelighters have reared their ugly heads from the depths of detection to prance in front of the camera, possessed by envy, smite, and grandiosity to openly admonish another brother for trying to do his due diligence in a manner that could have dire consequences for blacks in America. Just one more example of diversionary tactics often used to avoid personal accountability for knowing what time it really is and what must be done, and doing nothing. Most of them collaboratively would mean so much to our cause, yet they act independent, while we all are still
Dependent.
upon others.
America. Come on now. Come on, y'all. America.
America. Again, words were spoken.
And again,
And again,
our brother is labeled a token.
They were talking man to man, so I thought. But the other ones walking away to avoid facing the differences while diminishing the similarities, missing an opportunity to offer impunity from what many thought he should have done for the black community. He was the president of the United States of America, who is black. He was not the black president.
What happened?
He was not
I had that much of a pause in there. The black president.
the black president.
He was not.
He was not. He was not. He was not.
Woo! The black president.
See, politics can't fix what's wrong with us. See, politics can't fix what's wrong with us. See, politics can't fix what's wrong with us, but they can and have been wrong to us. Anyone expecting his 8-year tenure to give blacks jobs, justice, and equality? You know, the things we keep begging for year after year, election after election, are more delusional than those who believe that number 45 and his supremacist cohorts are going to re-enslave the black man. Imagine that. Toss the caps. Now, in defense of our brother, not that he needs it, but it's for him. Many of us adore him. Today, his convictions guided him to applaud them. He offered me words of wisdom to those who engage in idle chatter, not the act of sitting still, but worship of the one who instills in others, shoot to kill. Great again has never been, at least not in the eye of the beholder of many men. Certainly not by those in the circles I have been in. Slandered and ostracized, no mollies, no drive-bys, no innocents sodomized. Standing erect, brothers see check words, express historics, refreshed. Great again, America's mess.
Woo!
Are our heads so far up the asses of these so-called self-professed black leaders that our air will remain polluted with disdain and distrust, laden with Cain? Or become able to differentiate sincerity from conspiracy, authentic from fraudulent, a message from a messenger, knowing what time it really is and what must be done? Knowing what time it really is and what must be done? Knowing what time it is and what must be done? America,
And again, good morning and welcome to another episode of Daddy's Right Here. I'm your host, as always, Sabir Aleem. Accountability. We were talking about accountability last week, specifically in terms of understand the struggle. And a lot of people don't see the struggle because they don't see any need to be accountable for anything to anyone. Living that life of total self-centeredness. Like it's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about my wants, my needs, my desires. Even so much so that people have become accustomed to dating as a way of living, not seeking a platonic relationship, not seeking mano a mano, not seeking any of that, seeking to gather up as many people as they possibly can, right, to make a whole. Because if it's done that way, you got to go if it ain't happening right. If you're not providing me with what it is that I need in my life, I want in my life, right, I got to move on. Excuse me. Right? So that's what we've come to. Marriage is no more significant today than ever. That's what has been shaping our communities. The difficulty in finding the right one, some say. Is it a difficulty in finding the right one? Or is it difficulty in submitting? Because we submit to one another. We submit to one another. But we know it's a great problem for women to submit to their male, their men, their man. We know that's a problem. Why is it a problem? Because we have been so far removed from what's already there. It's innate for us to partner. A man partners with a woman. Right? Procreation. Right? There's a responsibility there. You have to be there when the child comes. Yeah. You have to be, you must be, it's not an option, involved in the life of the child. Right? That's both of your responsibilities. Don't complain about what she's not doing, what she needs to do more of, and vice versa. There's no sense of doing any of that. Because if I was built like that, I'd be doing it. And I'm always willing to tell you, when it all started, I had no clue. I was so far removed from living a pro-social way of life. I was very anti-social in my living, in my doings. I was about that street life. That's the truth. I can sit there and say that. But at what point does one shake off the boy and be responsible as a father? In the same for a woman. At what point do you shake off the girl and become a woman and start looking beyond you as being the center of focus? If we stick with the script, because it's already written, then we find ourselves in less conflicts and confrontations. We'd be healthier as the human race. We're not healthy. We're so unhealthy because of how we internalize events that have taken place in our lives. The trauma, the unresolved trauma, the baggage. Bag lady, you gonna hurt yourself carrying all those bags around. We got a lot of men carrying bags too. And we carry from one relationship to the next and to the next and to the next. And, we keep telling the other person that it's them, that it's not us. That's true to some degree. I've been married 4 times. Getting ready to do the 5th time. But out of 6 real relationships, right? I married 5. Well, I'll be marrying 5. Nobody applauds that. Everybody has something to say. The only one that well, she didn't applaud it. The only one that recognized the commitment in that was my Aunt Deanna. I told her, Auntie, I'm getting ready to get married again. And, this, that, and the other. And she said, well, baby, you just keep on trying. Most spiritual woman I've ever met in my life. Never wavered from being just that way. Never wavered. And even though it's been years since I spoken with her, right? I will never forget that. That gave me so much more encouragement. So much more encouragement, because everybody has something to say when you say, well, you've been married 4 times. What you do wrong? Didn't do anything wrong. Neither did they. Everybody has the right to be who they are, be the way they are. And don't ever think for a minute that you can change another person. Right? I've been a clinician for 30 years. Substance abuse and serious and persistent mental illnesses. And I can tell you, and staff, I can tell you that you can only give somebody the information. It's entirely up to them to use that information to develop as a human being. Plain and simple. I don't have the power to change anybody. You can't love it away. You can't provide all the material things in the world and it'll go away. It ain't going away. It's not. Don't. You become totally exhausted. And many of us are. Many of us are totally exhausted and don't realize that the exhaustion is self-imposed. It's self-imposed because we just keep going on and on and on. And we take the I'm sorry's, forgive me, and we don't want to be by ourselves in some cases. Some of us, we just know it's going to get better. We just know they're going to change. We know we have the power to put the whip appeal on them and they're going to change. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, this thing's good, girl. Boy, I get up on that thing and you be calling my name. You'll never think about another woman. All kind of things we tell ourselves and we tell, the other person, and the other person, wants to believe it because, we just love each other. We do. Person's not going to change until they're willing. I had an ex-wife tell me, remind me, while we were signing off on our divorce papers. We were at the place getting it notarized. She said to me, you said to me years ago, she said, now remember, you told me one day I was going to look up and I was going to be by myself. She told me that. And it's not me applauding myself, patting myself on the back or anything, but I'm an easygoing dude. I'm a Libra. Anybody knows anything about Libras, layer that on to the personality that I developed over the years. It's not good when we get pissed off. But throughout the years, I had to learn how to stop pointing fingers and stop blaming and stop saying, it's because of this and it was because of that. But if you could give a reason why you are that way, then you can find a solution to stop being that way. Every time you speak to why you're that way, you have this whole list that you pull out. Well, he did this to me, she did that to me, my mother didn't do this, my father didn't do this for me, so on and so forth. Those are just reasons you give yourself to not improve as a person. You make all those choices on your own. I make all those choices on my own. It's nothing going to be nothing. I lost my train of thought for a minute. Sorry, I looked at the message there. Nothing is going to bring about that change unless you sit down one day. Today should be that day. After the show, make today that day. That you sit down and you say, you know what? I'm going to write this list out, and I'm going to look at why I am this way, and look at how much power and control people, in many cases, who are not even here any damn more, who you haven't seen in years. But look at this list and see how these people still control your life, just like they were still in it with you. You still hold on to that bitterness. You still hold on to what she did, what she didn't do. That's why you can't move forward. I see posts in social media today from people that I've known for years, acquaintances, not necessarily friends, because friends I can count on one hand, but acquaintances, and I see the same post, I see the same content, the same thing, over and over and over again. They're still complaining. They're still bashing men. They're still bashing women. Why? You selected that person. That person didn't force you into the relationship. You turned a blind eye to things because you wanted what you wanted. And when you didn't get what you wanted your way, you acted out. Instead of saying enough was enough. That's how I came to be married 4 times, because I said enough is enough. I'm a very accommodating person, right? I had to move myself from that enabler position, because that's not a good position to be in. An enabling position is dangerous. It's dangerous in so many ways, man, because you're lost and don't even know you're lost. Yeah. It's like being in a familiar neighborhood and driving from this place to that place. You get there automatically. You go on to this autopilot thing, and you get there. And many people still live their lives lost because of a lost love that never was. See, when you begin to take responsibility for what's happening in your life, for how you got to the place that you are, right? When you start taking responsibility for those kind of things, you start looking at the decisions that you make when you're ready to change. You start looking at those decisions. You say, well, how did I get here? How did I get here? And I have a show. It's been done like 3 years ago. But if you go to the Severe Liam Educational Station on YouTube, you'll get the opportunity to. I think it's in 3 parts actually. How did I get here? Right? Because until you take a look at how you got there, how you got here, you really won't know where this came from, because there's a core to this. So it was something that I wanted to say when I was talking, and it just kind of got away from me. But when it comes back up, I'll get it. But yeah, it was right there, and just I kept talking a point, and it came up into my head. But last week we were on the Growth Source coaching site, and the title of the article is "Why You Struggle with Accountability and How to Actually Change: The Psychology of Upgrading Your Mindset in Order to Change Thinking and Behavior Habits." Because until you change your thinking, the behaviors will always be there. The behaviors will remain the same. So you have to break it down. And as a counselor, as a clinician, I always use the ABCs of cognitive behavior treatment, rational emotive behavior treatment. Right? I'm a Ellis fan. It's Beck and Ellis. I'm an Ellis fan. Right? I really got into the whole REBT thing, rational emotive behavior treatment, in some venues and therapy and others, because I begin to look at my thinking. I begin to realize that I am a thinker. Like right now, some things were going on. Last night I was doing some things, and this morning I was doing some things. I'm sitting here doing the show, and those other things are still passing through my mind. It goes like that all the time for me, every day. And it's at its height at some point in time, depending on how long ago. I just went to bed like 4 o'clock this morning, and was back up at 5, reposting some stuff that has to do with A Lean for You, LLC. A Lean, A Lean for You. So yes, A Lean. Make sure you check out the site, A Lean for You, as it's been reflected in the banner on the screen. But I'm a thinker, so I had to realize that sometimes I overthink things, and I've gotten better with that as well. Learning not to overthink it. But I am an analytical person. I analyze things. I pay attention. I'm a Libra, once again. So I watch things. I watch people. I can pick up on game. Game knows game. I know game. Right. So it's. I've been. I just released some new music, as I played earlier in the show. Bruh Rock. Bruh Rock. When you look at the title, it's Bruh Rock. So it's Bruh Rock. I mean, it was some stuff that was just resting on my spirit from some remarks that our brother Barack Obama had made at a campaign office to the folks at the office, and was speaking directly to black men. A lot of black men took issue with it. A lot of black women took issue with it. At the end of the day, I'll let my song, and I'll play it at the end of the show. I'll let my it's not a song, it's a spoken word piece. I'll let that piece speak for itself. But the point is that personal accountability is first and foremost. How you come to the conclusion of who you're going to vote for has to have more thought put into it, is what my takeaway from it was. We don't like being checked. Men don't like being checked, but blacks seem to never want to be checked. Always want to point fingers and blame, the white man this and the white man that, the white man holding us down, and they don't want. So we know all of this. This isn't anything new. I'm 64 years old, and I've been hearing it all my life. All my life. I've been hearing the same thing all my life. But nobody has ever stepped in the way of my progress but me. Me. I've had a 30-year career, right? When I got off that pity pot, that blame game thing, life got better. Life got better. So the article is talking about the psychology of upgrading your mindset. When I walked away from the life on the street, drugs, alcohol, that mayhem, all that madness, right? Within 24 hours, my life had begun to change. I'm telling you no lie. Within 24 hours, my life began to change because I had stopped everything for an entire 24-hour period. And I began to see the path that I was once on before that lifestyle took over. Because it took over. And a lot of us have allowed lifestyles to take over and have taken us off course, have taken us off the path. And our minds are in disarray. So it talked here in the article about what causes us to not be accountable. While lack of training in being accountable to ourselves may be one element, another may be our own resistance to calling ourselves out on the decisions and choices we make. When we avoid being accountable, we make a conscious decision. Listen to this. This is for the people in the front. We make a conscious decision not to do something, and then another decision to downplay the importance of not following through. We downplay. That's where the blame comes in. That's where the rationalization and justification of the most outrageous sort of nonsense comes into play. Downplay it. Right? Because that's what's going to happen after this election. We've been falling. What's going on, Sean? We've been falling for the banana in the tailpipe for a long time. For a long time. Many of us are convinced. Many of them are convinced that the Democrat Party is the party for us. Many are convinced that the Republican Party is better for us. Many need to take a look at overall, what do we want? What's best for what? For you? If you're complaining about the fact that we need jobs, justice, and equality, what job are you looking for? What steps have you taken to secure that job? What steps have you taken to experience upward mobility in that craft? Because if you're at a job and you've been at this job for X amount of time and you haven't seen the upward mobility, right, at that job, first ask yourself, have you done everything to excel, to become proficient, to master what it is you're currently doing? Everybody doesn't want to move up. That's fine. It's not a requirement. But if it's something that is weighing on you and you're feeling like you're not going anywhere and you're pointing fingers at the system and saying they're doing this to us and they're doing that to us, ask yourself, what position have you put yourself in? Right? Because this all goes back to the decisions you make, how that plays out, how you respond and react to it, because it's all about relationships. I've been able to excel at every job I've ever been in because I go in there, I learn not just my job duties. I want to know what my boss's job duties are. I want to have a clear understanding of policy and procedure. I want to have a clear understanding of the state statutes that are relevant to what it is that I do. Oh, my resume is outstanding. My performance, outstanding. And it's not because I say it is, it's because that's what my annual performance evaluations say. That's what my performance evaluations say. It's not what I say, because I take the information that I get in my supervisions, or I take the information that I get from my mentors, or I take the information from articles like this that I do every week, and I grow from it. I learn from it because I'm learning the same time you are. I'm having my aha moments too. But because I remain open-minded, I stay the course of being humble, even though it may not appear that way to some of you, because I'm not. There's a difference in being humble and being passive. I'm not a passive person. I approach things in the most diplomatic ways possible, but if I see that you ain't getting it, then I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, intellectually, and that's when you begin to hate me. Right? I'm good with that. Because people are going to talk about you no matter what it is that you do. They're going to form their own opinion. But what is the contribution that you give to the opinion? So back to the point. If you are seeking to excel, to grow, right, as a professional, you got to grow as a person first. You got to get your house in order, right? You got to get your spirit right. You got to get your mind right. You got to get your mind right. And no matter what happens, go back to my shows. The id is what goes up here in your head. The id. The ego is the part that brings balance between the id and the super ego. The super ego, the other part of you, of us, is our morality. Our morality. Yeah. The id, the ego, and the super ego. That gut feeling. That feeling when you go into your places, nah, this ain't right. Or you encounter somebody, nah, this ain't right. That don't come in here. It happens here. When it happens here, then it goes up here. You see why there's a need for balance from the ego? Because it's here that happens. Your spirit feels unsettled. And because you're not in alignment with the creator, you're all over the place. You're allowing here to dictate instead of allowing your ego to bring balance, which is what it's responsible for. Look it up. Check out my show, the id, the ego, and the super ego. Those parts of the human being, the parts of the self that have to be on the same page. Another thing from the article, we may even go as far as blaming others for the things that did not happen because we did nothing to make them happen. You want to have a better relationship with your mother. You want to have a better relationship with your father, your employer. You just want to have better relationships. You look at these particular relationships. It's an expectation you have of them to be other than them. You want me to be somebody who I'm not. I can't be who you want me to be. I can be who I am striving to be. And if that's an issue for you, then you have to make a decision. And that's what it talked about in the other point. You have to make that decision. Don't downplay it by blaming the other person because they are who they are. Either you're going to suck it up, stop trying to control the circumstance, and keep moving forward, or you're going to just go. Don't beat up on me because you want to be the way you are. Because it's not going to be but so long that I'm going to continue to take it before I walk away. But it says that here, most of the people I work with in the article know what the right thing to do is. They understand why it's important to do certain things, and they realize intellectually what will happen if they don't. Intellectually, See, you have to get out of this intellect. Because up here, the Terror Dome is a scary place to be alone for some people. You go up here and you have all kinds of crazy thoughts, and all of it is blame. All of it is a poor world view. Because the world doesn't cater to you. And you hate it. You just want it to be different. When you understand what the White House really, truly represents, life gets a lot easier. It is not people driven. It's money driven. It's a business. It ain't personal. It's business. You need to take care of your personal stuff so you can handle your business. You get me? So we started going down the list of what to do if you struggle to hold yourself accountable. If not being accountable is what's getting in the way of the results you want, you can reverse this bad habit. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you're willing to change. You have to be willing to change. And that's a question. If you ask somebody that question, who you've constantly found yourself at odds with, if you ask them that question, are you willing to change? Do you see a need to change? Just ask that question. Don't keep arguing about what you think is the issue, because that's just what presented itself at that time. Get away from that. Get away from focusing on what you just said. Change the tone. Are you willing to change? Do you see a need to change? And let that person tell you. Stop playing games. Let them tell you. Because if they tell you, no, I don't see a need to change. You need to do this and you need to do that. It's time to go. Spare yourself the grief. Spare yourself the long-term, chaotic, random-driven life. You can save some years on your life. You can add more years to your life just by saying, okay, I got it. I'm going. I'm out. There's nothing in any literature that I've ever read scripturally that says that you stay in a situation that is abusive, that is harmful. Post it. Post the scripture where it says that you stay in that kind of a relationship, that you stay in that kind of marriage. Post it. There's nothing that says that. Listen, scripture gives us guidance as to how you conduct yourself when you have conflict with your spouse. It tells you what to do, how to deal with it. Whether you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Jew, it's all there. It tells you how to handle those things. And if those things are tried and they don't work out, there's scripture that already tells you what to do with that. You don't stay around let somebody. That's abuse. It's abuse. Right? Right? But by who? Is that person actually abusing you? Or is it self-imposed abuse? It's self-imposed if it's right there and it repeatedly happens and you have a discussion repeatedly about it. And it still keeps happening. What is that telling you? You still want to beat up on that person because of their refusal to change, because of their resistance to change, because of their denial that there's a problem with them? No. It's a problem with them because you're with them. You can love somebody and walk away from them and let them be them, but we can't be in a relationship because that part of you doesn't work for me. I'm the kind of dude who listen, do you. When things interfere with us, and I'm not talking about, you park sideways on the driveway and I always got to park all the way over by the bushes. Well, when when you use the last bit of toilet paper, put your thing back on. I'm not talking about those kind of things. And there's a whole lot of people going through those kind of things in relationships, not seeing that it's you. I'm not obsessive with it, but I'm an orderly person. I'm structured. When I put something somewhere, I know I put it there, and I'm going back there to get it. Don't move it, because I'm structured. When I take my clothes off, my belt gets hung up, my tie gets hung up, my pants get folded, hung onto the hanger, or folded up if I'm going to wear them again, so on and so forth. That's how I function, right? I take my watch and I put my watch and my wallet in the same place, right? I put things in the same place. I do things in the same manner. And it's like the Odd Couple. If those of you who are familiar with the Odd Couple, Felix and Oscar, went at it all the time, because Felix was about keeping things straightened up. Oscar just going with that. He takes his clothes off, leave them there and on the floor, right? If it bothers you and you love this person and you want to be with this person, is that a deal breaker? Is that something you have to constantly keep bringing up over and over and over again? I just start picking stuff up. Does it mean that I stop having a thought or a feeling about it? No. Today, I'm not going to fuss out loud. Today, I'm not going to, because you only have this day. Get through this day without being offensive, without being harmful to the other person. Get through this day. And that'll go a long way in building a better relationship. But if you continue to nag and complain, you're not going to get anywhere, because you're not living with you. People don't do things the way you do them. People don't talk the way I talk. Like I'm the kind of person, I want you to get to the point. Get to the point now. Don't. Now, if I'm in a counseling session, right? And here's a good example. When I'm in a counseling session, right, it's me getting to know the person sitting in front of me, how they function, what their thinking is, how they deal with certain things, how they don't deal with certain things. So my job is to guide them towards self-discovery. Take a look at this. Well, what do you think about this? Well, tell me more about that. Right? You do those kind of things in that situation. But you can't counsel your partner. And that's where I draw the line. I'm not your counselor. But it's a matter of, getting to know how that other person operates. Right? I didn't have that background in straightening things up and doing this and doing that. I lived in this particular environment. It was also always this way. Well, my mother didn't have it. My mother made sure everything was put in its place. Everything was neat. You get up off that chair, straighten the cover out. Just don't get up and just leave the cover that's on there all wrinkly. That's not the way you found it. Again, childhood. Everything goes back to childhood. When I'm writing, I make sure I'm writing my best. I don't sit there and go out off of the perforated lines when clearly they're there for me to learn how to write an A, to write a B, so on and so forth. We don't do cursive anymore, but how the top of the line to the bottom line. So when I'm teaching kids, I'm always saying top of the line, bottom of the line, around, top of the line, bottom of the line, around. When you go to the lowercase letters should be, you use the same method, top of the line and bottom line. So if you got a B and you're writing the word boy, you got the B, top of the line, bottom line, and around. That O should be the same height as the B. The Y. That's that's why they have those three lines, top of the line, bottom line. So that's how I grew up. I grew up not saying ain't. Right? Because my mother said ain't is not a word. Right? Ain't what I'm saying making sense to you? But it's a matter of being willing to change. Willing. And change doesn't mean stop doing it. Change merely means stop being so insistent. on things being that particular way so you're happy. But then ask yourself, could you live with you? So number one was being accountable requires the right perspective. We went through that. First, recognize that the reason you choose to do some things and not others is because your perception may be influenced by reward and consequences. This has to do with our early exposure to being accountable to others. I was just talking about my mother, right? There's always a reward or consequence for the decision you make, right? You know, I like even today, I always tell people, you seldom hear me use profanity in my mother's presence. Seldom. Well, now, back before I made that change, you know, it was just superlatives are just popping out of my mouth. Like, oh, you got to hear my mother's mouth now. Woo! Anywho, so number two was know your limits. Be conscious of what you are committing to. Some of the problem with accountability stems from overextending yourself, which gives you permission not to do the things you agreed to because you find yourself overloaded. Stop agreeing to everything. That's that accommodating piece, right? That's that enabling piece, right? It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. I'm going to stay accommodating, but I've learned from my last marriage about overextending myself. I had a sister tell me back in 2000, I think it was 2000, I'm going to say 2010, 2011. She was associate of my wife. And we were talking about relationships. And one of the things she said to me, she said, well, Sabir, you're very accommodating for a lot of women, right? That can be, how does she say? Taken advantage of. Because you're just so accommodating. So it's an expectation. No matter what it is you do or don't do, it's always an expectation that you're going to accommodate the situation. So the dummy stuff that happens, and it's not always blatant, brutal stuff that's harmful, but it's stuff that is hurtful. It's hurtful, right? You get past it, but it's like you push the envelope, and the thing just about to fall off, and you just bring it back just a little bit because you know, oops, you clap back. You know, you start looking at those different kinds of things. Number three on this was find other things or people to be accountable to, and then we stopped on this one last week. Number three, and we're on the article Growth Source Coaching, why you struggle with accountability and how to actually change. So these are the steps toward change, right? So number three, find other things or people to be accountable to. Since many of us have been conditioned to be accountable to others, set up other areas to be accountable to. Set up other areas to be accountable to, right? Because it says here we've been conditioned to be accountable to others, right? So we start with childhood. You're accountable to your parent, the mother, the father. You're accountable to them, right? Regardless of how regardless of the frequency of their presence, regardless of, anything else, you're still accountable to your parent. If keeping appointments is difficult, use a calendar to lock them in. Use a calendar to lock them in. In fact, using a calendar for all of your committed activities, even tasks you do for yourself, is a great way to learn to hold yourself accountable. Finding a colleague with similar shortcomings and an equal desire to change, is also a great way to learn to be more accountable. This is called a buddy system. Now, for men, this is a real difficult area because we're not groomed that way. We're not molded and shaped that way. That's a beginning point there to realize that our fathers, our OGs, our mentors, I think it's safe to say that 95% of us are groomed in a way that you get it done. Period. You don't ask another man for help. You do it yourself. And I know 95% is high. But again, I've been a clinician for 30 years working with males and females, primarily males. And that's why so many wind up in prison. Because they thought it was necessary to get it done. Yes, it was a bad choice. Yes, it was something that they thought they had to do at the time. Yes, there's some who still believe that that's the way to get it done because they stood in the way of their own progress. Now, backtracking and getting the GED, it's not something they desire to do. They want to get back out to their money because they got to make the money. Misinformation. Misinformation. Right? You don't have to make all this amount of money. You just need to get a job so you can stay free. Because you're going to max out of your time unless you got a life sentence, or unless you die in prison. You're going to go back home. So the problem is staying home. The problem is staying home. So you have to learn how to stay home. And this is where the commitment, the accountability to something. And that's why when you get the early release, you get the conditions of your early release. You get the script. This is what you must do to stay free. Now you already have the evidence of what this is what you do to not stay free. You already know that. And that's not just with the correctional population, it's with anybody. You know what it takes to stay free. So why do you do the things that continue to take your freedom? That's what you have to look at. Well, you don't have to. It'd be a good idea. But that's how you stay free. You have your own evidence. Pull it out. Okay, I did this. What was the end result? Prison. Divorce. And then once we get you to the stage of looking at that list, because you know how to stay free, you got to keep looking at why you keep doing the things that take your freedom. That's in any relationship, in any position, status of your life. Why am I still at this position? I worked as a counselor, and I started out as a site tech, and then I moved up to program supervisor. I went to another job. I went there as the counselor assistant 3. Within X amount of time, I moved up to counselor 2. In a matter of a couple of years, being program supervisor, clinical coordinator, director. Before I retired, I was a state program director, overseeing multiple in-prison treatment programs in state correctional institutions. But I got there because I pay attention. I listen. I follow direction. I understand that my job is to make my boss look good, not to make me look good. See, because we're talking about right here, find other things or other people to be accountable to. It's broken down in the employee handbook, the expectations of me as an employee. If I feel that at any point in time during my tenure that my principles and values are not in alignment with that of the organization I work for, I don't change who I am. I keep me and me, and I seek out that which is in alignment, right? Because when you're starting off an organization, you always say these good, great Gucci things that you're going to do for everybody. You're gonna save the world. And then when it's time to do it, you forget that you have all these human beings that are part of all of this. And how do you get all of these human beings in alignment with what's written? Well, what about your accountability to God? Let's start there. What about your accountability to a power greater than yourself? What about your accountability to the creator? You being creation and all. What about that? Think that might be a good starting point? Being accountable to the one who gave you this day, because it could be your last. You were given this one. You were given ones before this, and you're still here today. What about the accountability there? What about gratitude? You have to start looking at what you're grateful for. Why are you grateful for this? Why are you grateful for that? Why are you not grateful for it? Because we have to look at why am I not grateful as well. Most important, because if I lack gratitude, I'm missing something. Maybe you need to take a walk down in those areas where people have tents under the bridge, on the side of the road, and for Floridians in the woods. Why is Mike living in the woods? Or you see somebody who's panhandling who has one leg, you have two. Or how you treat the person who's standing outside of the 7-Eleven panhandling, and you're trying to make a decision as to whether you want to give them money or not and determine whether they're drinking, whether they're going to use it for drugs. Doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Well, I'm not giving nobody money who's going to get high with it. Listen, this may be the only way he can cope, or she can cope through life right now with some of the things that they're dealing with. This may be the only way they can get through the day because they're sick and they need it. This may be the only way to keep them from running up on you, busting you upside your head, and taking those couple of dollars that you worked hard for. If you've never been addicted to something, and we're all addicted to something, see how you're at when you're addicted to chocolate. How many 7-Eleven runs or Wawa runs you made 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because you just got to have some chocolate ice cream. You know what time every last one of those stores in your community closes. You sit there and you watch the clock, and this game, I wait for halftime because the store closes. And then you go through all of that and you run out to the store and you come back and you done missed 25 minutes of it. You're in the last quarter now. You missed all of this and you don't like to rewatch the part you missed because you've already seen the outcome. Well, you've seen the outcome of many things, right? Conditioning yourself, back to the article, to follow through with promises you make is the main behavior that improves accountability. Using other tools or people to help facilitate greater self-directed action is an effective way to become more accountable. I don't remember. Listen, I'll tell you, I'm selective in memory. And what I mean by that is I have so many things that I'm involved in, so many things that I do, so many things that are part of my day-to-day routine that I do put birthdays and things on calendars, right? Same way for work. I'll put things on calendars, but I still forget. After I've seen the notification, I still forget because I don't rationalize it, justify it. I do my best. My best friend, who's now deceased, Donald Kolak, he said, that's what he would say all the time. He would either say, Inshallah, or just do your best. I'd rather do your best. Got to just do your best. Uh, Another mentor, a person who sponsored me early on in me getting myself, cleaned up from the streets and the drugs and alcohol. So it's okay, brother. It's okay. It's okay. All right, brother. Okay. And that's Ralph Green. That's what Ralph's response was. Everything. Break your anonymity, brother. But you know, it's significant. Been around for a long time. But those kind of people that I kept around me, that I keep around me. I don't have time for the drama. I don't have time for the shenanigans. I don't have time for all that. I don't have time for the idle chit chat. I just don't. I just don't. I'm about my business. I'm about my brand. And you don't build a brand, right, by being preoccupied on a regular basis, profusely, with idle chatter. I just don't. That's who I am. Period. Period. What I do is 24/7. I said I realized that I dropped three songs this year. March, August, and I just dropped the other one the other day. You know what it takes to write the song, to create the music, produce the music for it, mix it, master it, perform the vocals on a. You know how much time that takes. I'm not the dude who just stands up in the mic and get it done. I think it's a cadence to some things. There's a certain cadence that you use in talking. There's a certain cadence you use when enunciating and trying to get certain words. I have an overbite, so sometimes I can say sit down and it says shit down, right? I know that. Anxiety, I grit my teeth, right? I take medication for anxiety. Yeah. But when you change your lifestyle, right, you don't have to rely always upon medication to manage your symptoms. I can tell you so many people came through the facilities that I worked at who came in on very high doses of medication. And we had a great psychiatrist who met with them regularly, who tapered, who looked for the evidence of people went on to get jobs, man. Jobs just like anybody else. Serious and persistent mental illness and shit. So it's a combination of therapy and medication to manage that person's condition. But it's also a matter of some cognitive stuff to help them see what happens when. Again, the evidence. This is what happens when you don't take your medication, right? So let's look at all the things that happen when you're not taking your medication, right? These are the things that you began to do, and it changed how you felt inside, how you begin to see the world around you, right? And then they begin to understand the significance of the medication and understand how much works. Like I take like 30 milligrams for anxiety and depression, right? And I haven't been taking it every day, especially since I retired, right? I've been working out more. I've been more relaxed. Well, with a 2-year-old, it's hard to relax, but the stress of waking up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to be on the laptop to get something started for the day or to finish up something from the previous day, right? That was my condition. I'd be in front of the laptop. I'd be on the phone looking to see who anybody called out, any emergencies I need to deal with right now. I'd be in the car doing the same thing, driving, right? I got to make a call, even though I got the hands free on. It's still the condition was always go, 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 and that's what I've been used to doing. And it's been hard making the adjustment. So I just I think I'm going to get this position, part-time clinician. Myself and the doctor have gone back and forth for a few calls, and I think we're pretty much ready to come to the table and sign off on the deal for me to do something part-time, right? So I can keep my thumb on the pulse of what's happening in behavioral health, right? What's new? What's working? What's not working? What are the changes, right? Which also aids in my change. But again, being accountable is something else, somebody else. Number 4, we're getting close. Okay, oh, we're almost there. All right. Step 4, implement deadlines. A good accountability practice is to place deadlines on everything. Without deadlines, things usually get pushed aside for more immediate tasks that pop up, right? When this happens, you will likely attend to what is urgent before you work on what is important. Urgent always finds a way to override important. And that's one of the things that I had to look at, being in the position of director, especially with my last position of state program director. I got emails coming in constantly. I got phone messages coming constantly. I'm always moving. I'm in a facility. I got staff coming constantly. I got the inmates at the institution constantly coming to me. I got to go deal with this. I got to go see a warden. I got to go see this administrator. I got to go see this. I got to see that. I got to sit in the group and see what's happening with the group. I got all these things that I have to do. All of them are important because it's my job. What's urgent? Well, staff person just came through the gate, got searched, and came in with contraband. Is that urgent? Yeah, for the institution. Is it urgent for me to leave out of a session with an inmate when we're doing a counseling session? Absolutely not. And nothing I can do. You get locked up. They get ready to call the police on you. You get ready to roll up out of here. Nothing I can do about that. It's important. First thing I do is finish up the session. Then I go find out what happened. I got 24 hours to get my report done. I get the report done. And then I go back to those other things. I got to go check my emails now, because after the session, after the interaction with that may be about 2-3 hours. It all depends on who I got to meet with to find out what happened. Right? I got to report some things within the hour, something like that. I need to report within the hour. Hey, Joe Splivengate just got locked up for possession of contraband. I'll be sending the report shortly. The call was made within that time frame. Again, urgent, important, right? You plan an outing with the family, right? Something else comes up. It may be job related. Is it important or is it urgent? When you're accountable to your family, right? And you're grooming yourself in that marriage, you be accountable to them first, especially if they're saying to you, well, you don't never, it's always, and no, and your response downplaying, well, my job is important. That's how y'all eat. You're downplaying it now. We didn't ask you that. We asked you to go on this outing with us. You said that you were going. Now you're telling us you got to run to the job. Is it urgent or is it important? When you get those phone calls, hey, listen, so-and-so was in an accident, in a car accident. Okay. I'm in the middle of something with the family. Do I leave the family and go see about the other person who's in the hospital? Listen, call me back and let me know the progress. I'm out with the family right now. As soon as I get done this, right? I can't do nothing for that person that's laying on the gurney. I'm not a damn doctor. I'm a clinician. I'm going to give them therapy while they're on the gurney. They might need surgery. I'm going to be giving them therapy during the surgery. No, you can't go back there anyway. Right? Is it one of the children? Oh, we got to go. Is it the wife? Oh, we got to go. I'm in Florida. I get a call from Philly. What am I going to do? Catch the next flight out? Hey, it's happened. Somebody died. They're dead. Respectfully, what am I going to do? Stop doing what I'm doing and bring them back? They're dead. Urgent, important. Is it urgent? Yes. I love you. You're in the hospital. You want to complain because I didn't get down there fast enough? I've been in touch with your mother. I've been in touch with your father. I've been in touch with your uncle. I've been in touch with they've been Listen, I was, nothing I could do. Right? Here I am. You can't always respond to that which another person expects for you to do. You will never meet the expectations fully of another person. Believe that. No matter how much they love you, no matter how much you love them, you will never fully meet the expectations of another. Never. Never. And if a person appears to be always satisfied, it's a setup. Watch for the clap back because it's coming. They're going to snap because they've taken too much. They've taken too much. And we do it often. We take too much. We take more than we need to take from another person. But ask yourself the question, why are you giving this to that person? Do they deserve what you're giving to them? This is where the willingness comes in. You'd rather see me walk away than to say, I need to fix this. And I'm willing to do whatever is necessary to fix it. It's up to you. What's happening? Hold on, y'all. Right, got a battery status thing here right now. So, yeah. So give yourself deadlines for things. Like for me to balance the music and the video that I do every Saturday, I changed the time because 9 o'clock was killing me. Because with me doing this e-commerce thing, sometimes I don't go to sleep until 3, 4, 5 o'clock. If I go to sleep, because I have the 2-year-old, so I'm doing things, and like a lot of times I can't do what it is that I need to do, developing merchandise, the designs and all that kind of stuff. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of reading things, a lot of stuff you have to do to get noticed on Google. You got to get Google recognized. You got to get Yelp recognized. It's certain things you have to do for ads. So it's like, I kind of balance it. So when the music thing came up, was the music urgent or was it important? I could have sat down and probably just went on, stopped everything, went right to the music and started doing this. But no, I did it gradually. I wrote it out. I put it in my head. I have like hundreds of beats that I've already created that are ready to go in case y'all looking for beats. I got like it's a build a bear. I got to build a beat. I got a foundation that I can build on, or about a couple hundred beats. I got a lot of stuff. Then I have Ableton Live, which allows me to just go crazy on it. But it was important for me because I know the importance of staying relevant in the sense that not everybody, is listening to me. I only have a handful of listeners, but I remember when I had 0 followers on Spotify. Now I have 8 followers. That's progress. Don't nobody know who the hell I am. I'm no singer. The content is relevant, and that's what keeps me going. But I know that there's a responsibility that I have to people who have started following. Yo, dude, don't you put some stuff out, I start following you, now you drop off. Again, accountability. When you are accountable to something or someone, right, that gets you grounded. And then you start, living a life of accountability because you think of others first. And it's okay. I always say live a selfish life. Think of you first. Absolutely. Absolutely. But understand that who you are is an accountable person. A person who's accountable to being a servant of God, first and foremost. And I'm not even talking about religion, because I choose today to live a spiritual, not religious life, right? Accountable to God, accountable to the Creator, right? I believe in the afterlife. Therefore, everything I do in this life is in preparation for, I got my ticket stamped. I'm going. I don't care what you say, Sean McGee. I am going through those gates, right? I'm going through those gates. But So I live my life that way. And I understand. I understand how I feel. I see how I feel when I don't do that. I know how I feel when I gloss over. I gloss over a person. When I act like a person is not as important. I don't do that. Everybody's important. So the last one on here is learn from your failures. Finally, give yourself permission to fail. Let me stop on that. Do you understand that failure only means what's not working, what doesn't work? How many times do you think Michael Jordan, Steph Curry stood at the top of the key and shot that 3-pointer? Huh? How many times? How many times do you think they missed? How many times? Sounds odd, especially when running a business. People equate failure with some sort of financial loss or other damaging setback. But in our daily lives, we fail to accomplish all sorts of things we attempt to do or tell ourselves we must do. Use failure as a tool for learning about yourself and changing how you decide on commitments, actions, expectations, etc., etc., etc. Right? Listen, this whole e-commerce thing, I started in June 2023. It's been a long road, and the road is still stretching out on me. Every time I start this, I learn that. But I'm learning to expand. I'm learning to connect the dots. I'm moving towards getting this platform integrated into my Elaine for You website. So that way, when people are watching these shows on Saturday, that they're actually watching it on the Elaine for You website. So that means while I'm talking, you don't have to sit here and look at me, which you're not doing anyway. Most of the time you're walking around their house or you're just driving. But this way, people can peruse the site to look at your merchandise, can buy the merchandise while they're still online looking at the show. So it's a whole lot of things you have to learn about connecting the dots. There's a whole lot of things I've had to learn about tags and how important to use all the tags that are permissible in order for you to have more opportunities for people to click on that item. I didn't know that. I put 3-4 tags on it, and that was it. Then after going back reading, so wait a minute, it says use up to 15 tags. Why? It's 15 opportunities for somebody to look at that merchandise. 15 opportunities. So I went from 3 or 4 opportunities that somebody looking at a pair of shoes, a shirt, sweatpants, a jacket, a shower curtain. You know, those are all the things and more that we have on our Elaine for You .net website. You got to go check us out, man. It's there for you. It's waiting right there for you. All you got to do is go, and you know you'll be able to see it, right? You'll see it all. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, man. But I'm committed to it, right? And when you have a relationship that you're committed to, that is, you know, you don't have all that drama because you've established what it is that you're going to allow in your life, right? You make that connection with the right person, the right people, man, and things begin to look a little different.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
As always, you can be doing anything else on a Saturday morning and sitting down listening to me.
My dad.
Right? But you're here. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your continued support. Go to the website, ElaineForYou.net. And buy. Best prices in the country.
With swagger,
I'm your host, as always, Sabir Elaine.
To take care
Peace.
of my need, taking it all in stride. Daddy seldom complained. His emotions he'll hide. All his aches and pain stays up in his head about what must be done.
Taking no time off. Daddy stays on the run. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear, because anytime I need him, I know
Daddy's right.
Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Thank y'all so much.
Daddy's right. Daddy seldom gets credit. We don't see all that he does. What's important to us is
Always showing daddy love.
His love sometimes tough.
To learn why it took a while. Our relationship special.
One of daddy's child. Facing his responsibility.
Making it do what it do.
Physically and emotionally available. Yeah, daddy's coming
Coming through.
He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Nothing easy about fatherhood. Protecting us from all the
No good.
Most of the time he gets it right. He'll usually see
The light.
He'll take his problems to God. Sometimes we'll pray together. The most gracious, most merciful one. With him the storms will
Weather.
He's my dad and I love him.
With him I have no fear.
Because anytime I need him,
I know.
daddy's right here.
Daddy's right here, baby.
Daddy's right here.
Altamise Aline, there you are. What's going on, baby? I know y'all hey, listen, I know I did have to, it was something that I did have to add, make sure everybody reminds you of. Listen, so I will no longer be on Instagram. No longer. I am directing my focus primarily back to my Superior Lean Educational Station on YouTube. So I won't be doing the other ones. Right now, I'm doing Facebook from my phone. So the most consistent one you're going to have is the one on my Superior Lean Educational Station on YouTube. Go by there and subscribe. Go subscribe. See, this is another part of management, of the commitment, right? I was using StreamYard. They increased their fees. I'm good. They work well for me with just this basic one where I can just go from here and put it right into my YouTube, or I can just eliminate this altogether. I like what this has to offer in StreamYard. Don't get me wrong. The price went up. I'm out, right? I'm on retirement money. I ain't on that other stuff. But yeah, so that's my focus. Go subscribe. I need you to subscribe to my Severe Aleem Educational Station on YouTube. I also need for you to go to the aleemforyou.net website. Go to the website, right? Check it out, right? I'm getting ready to put a review button on there, because the other part to it is, if you Google it and you come to the site, because it's a Google map and everything is already set up, they're asking you there to put reviews. I'm going to put a button on the site. So you just go to the site, check it out, say, hey, I like this stuff. I'm not ready to buy right now. I'm good with that, right? I know you'll be back. Holiday is coming. We have the best prices. Look at your merchandise. Compare the price, for instance, of our $55 zip-up fur-lined hoodie, fully designed, all over design, right? Compare our price to others who have the same product, not the same merchandise. The product is the sweatsuit, is the jacket, right? That's the product. The merchandise encompasses the design. Check it out. The same way with the boots, everything. All of our merchandise is priced to have no more than a 5% profit gain. Yeah. Everybody else is running about 50-60%. Y'all need to go get it. Go get it. Go get it now. Stop playing. Stop playing with me.